There is a place on Earth where tigers roam the monuments of a lost empire. A place where Maharajas once hunted from elephant back, and where a centuries-old dynasty abandoned its palaces and temples and finally left its ancestral hunting grounds. This is the story of how tigers reclaimed this kingdom, and how amid the ruins of past civilizations, nature rebuilt a living Eden in the heart of India. The place is Bandhavgarh, India's tiger temple. Bandhavgarh lies deep in the heart of ancient India, a remote and protected wilderness. The Bandhavgarh Plateau is a massive block of sandstone with sheer walls rising 300 meters up from the jungles of central India. It is one of the last strongholds of the Royal Bengal tiger. Today, after 20 centuries of civilization, Bandhavgarh is abandoned by all except one solitary priest. The old priest marks the end of a long line of holy men who once tended the sacred shrines here on the plateau. Today, his most frequent visitors are tigers. Centuries ago, Bandhavgarh was the capital of a powerful dynasty. It was ruled by a line of devout Maharajas, followers of the Hindu gods. In Hindu mythology, a god represents each of the cycles of creation, preservation, and destruction. Vishnu, the preserver of life, is at the center of the Trinity. His monumental statue lies sleeping in a clearing at the foot of the plateau. Once a year, thousands of Hindu pilgrims converge on Bandhavgarh to visit the temple on top of the plateau. They make their way through the forests to pray at the ancient shrines, carrying offerings with them. The procession winds its way like a brightly colored ribbon through a landscape now entirely reclaimed by nature. Until the middle of the 20th century, these forests were the fiercely guarded hunting reserves of the Maharajas of Rewa, who hunted big game from elephant back. Tigers were always the ultimate trophies, and a stone monument marks the spot where in 1954, the last Maharaja shot his 100th tiger. Today, the tigers have little to fear, except from each other. This is Tshárger, who has ruled here for over 10 years. But like the Maharajas before him, Tshárger's reign is coming to an end. It is only a matter of time before he must meet a powerful new rival. A younger tiger has moved into his kingdom. He is Tshárger's own grandson, a tiger named B1. For Tshárger, who is at least 15 years old, this will be his ultimate challenge. B1, on the other hand, is in no hurry. He can afford to wait. At 5 years old, he is a massively powerful animal in his prime. This tigress has killed a cheetal stag. Her name is Bachi, the daughter of Tshárger and the mother of his rival, B1. But her mind is on more important things than her feuding relatives. Bachi drags the stag to a limestone cave in a rocky outcrop. A new litter of cubs is waiting for her in safety and darkness. Pilgrims have come to celebrate the birthday of one of Vishnu's 10 incarnations, a flute-playing god called Krishna. Up at the temple's ancient reservoir, the old priest is preparing for the pilgrims' arrival. Once, this great hand-carved tank provided the plateau with a supply of water vast enough to see it through the longest siege. Now the priest shares it with a host of animals. Below the temple, Bachi emerges from her lair with her 2 cubs. They are 5 months old and will be entirely dependent on their mother for at least the next year. The young cubs are very vulnerable at this age, and Bachi will never be far away from them for long. The cubs' sagging bellies show that Bachi is an excellent hunter. The first point the pilgrims reach on their ascent to the plateau is the statue of Vishnu. They break coconuts in a traditional offering. In a grassy meadow beyond the plateau, B1 is moving purposefully. His presence sends a ripple of fear through the grazing herds of spotted deer, but B1 is not hungry. The alarm calls of the herds have alerted Tshárger. B1 is approaching fast, pushing into his turf. The old tiger is forced to retreat, but with B1 now deep in Tshárger's territory, confrontation is inevitable. The old priest knows each tiger by name and can even recognize their individual calls. By the next morning, Tshajur's reign is over. He's lucky even to be alive. He takes cover in the thick undergrowth where he can nurse his wounds. Infection is just one of the dangers he now faces. B1 has not escaped entirely unhurt, but unlike his adversary, B1 is young and his wounds will quickly heal. The priest anoints himself, as he has done every day for decades. Hinduism places all forms of existence on the same wheel of fate. Whether it's a great and powerful dynasty or an individual tiger, its destiny is governed by karma and overseen by the trinity of gods in their many incarnations. A family of jackals has made a den under a thicket of bamboo. These cubs were born only a few weeks ago, but the den also holds another generation of jackals, older cubs that will suckle alongside their younger siblings. It is because of Bandaugar's natural bounty that a pair of adult jackals can support 2 litters at the same time. And providing for the scavengers are the predators. With 2 hungry cubs to feed, Bachi has to kill more and more often. This is Bachi's second successful litter. What looks like fun and games is in fact part of the cubs' education. They need to learn fast, and every day Bachi introduces the cubs to new challenges. What's a small step for Bachi is a giant leap for a youngster. Tiger cubs learn all their skills from observing their mother, and these first few months are critical. It's a steep learning curve, but tiger cubs, like all cats, have a habit of landing on their feet. Eventually, Bachi calls an end to the lessons, and her cubs obediently follow her for a well-deserved drink. It is water, above all, that ensures the regeneration of these jungles. And in late summer, after the monsoon rain, Bandaugar turns a vibrant green. Water is a holy sacrament in many religions, including Hinduism. And in many ways, it dictates how the people here will live from one season to the next. The pilgrims' celebrations are coming to an end. They receive the priest's blessing and prepare to leave. Soon the old priest and the tigers will once again have Bandaugar to themselves. Vishnu, the preserver of life, will sleep undisturbed for another year. With the last of the pilgrims gone, sambar deer come out to browse on the marshes. Their presence does not go unnoticed. With supreme confidence, B1 makes his way to the marsh. Tails raised and alarm calls sounding, the herds disappear into the long grasses. But B1 is not hunting today. He has come to reclaim a kill he hid the previous night. His wounds have now entirely healed, and the young tiger is a picture of health and formidable power. Very little that a tiger does ever goes unnoticed. Prey animals keep an eye on them out of concern for their own survival, and scavengers follow them in order to find scraps. So in Bandaugur, B1 is usually the center of attention. He tries to hide the remains of his kill again, but doing so in broad daylight means it's doubtful there'll be much left for him, and he may not even bother to return. Scavengers have been watching his every move, and it is not long before they arrive on the scene. First are the crows, followed by vultures, and then jackals. Together they make up Bandaugur's motley recycling team. A male jackal runs the gauntlet of sharp beaks, hoping to grab enough food for his entire family. He is heavily outnumbered, but he stands his ground. The female and the 2 litters of cubs emerge from the den. The male's hastily consumed meal is regurgitated for the entire family to share. Unlike tigers, male and female jackals play an equal part in raising their young. In the past, the presence of Tshajjar would have sent the entire family underground, but the jackals seem to realize that the once mighty tiger is now a spent force. It is now early summer, and the temperature is rising in Bandaugur. In the heat of the afternoon, Bachi and her cubs sleep. Tigers don't go out in the midday sun. Hunting is kept for mornings and late afternoons. In the grass meadows, the cheetah have begun their annual rut, and stags call to the females. Peacocks, displaying their feathered finery, are also in search of mates. Testosterone runs high as each mature cheetah stag seeks to establish his territory and gather around him as many females as he can. The peacock adopts a less aggressive approach. He uses his tail to signal his magnificence. The grasslands are divided up between the different harems of the most successful stags. At last, the peacock also attracts some attention. The stags smell the air, tasting it with their sensitive tongues to establish which females are ready to mate. Meanwhile, the peacock puts on a display of his charms. Disputes between rival males are settled with a clash of antlers. It's rare for the fights to last longer than a few seconds. Once dominance has been established, there is no point in either side suffering injury, and each individual seems to know instinctively when to call it a day. During the rut, tigers can capitalize on the cheetah's lack of vigilance. The long grasses provide ideal cover. A stag with its mind on other things can easily walk right into the jaws of a waiting tiger. The old priest has witnessed the turning seasons in Bandauger many times. The same drama is played out year after year, but with different characters. This year, it is B1's turn to occupy center stage. His stomach is full after a heavy meal of fresh cheetah. Others have to make do with leftovers. Tshardja, B1's vanquished rival, has at last found something to eat. It's an abandoned, putrefying kill, but the old tiger welcomes it. All tigers will scavenge. In fact, appropriating another's kill is a mark of dominance and a perk of being a tiger. But this rotting carcass is a little too ripe, even for Tshardja. He takes it into the water to wash it and get rid of some of the flies. The monsoon greenery has long faded. For the leaf-eating Hanuman monkeys, finding food now involves more effort and longer journeys. Hornbills also set off across the sparse canopy in search of summer fruit. Rising up through the roof of a temple is a heavily laden fig tree. Langurs and hornbills converge in the branches to feast. The ground beneath the fig is rich in monkey droppings, and pairs of dung beetles busily roll them into balls. This process is part of the dung beetle's reproductive cycle, but also plays a role in a much larger system of regeneration. Once complete, the ball will be buried with the dung beetle's eggs to give their offspring a nutritious start in life. Then, the operation over, male and female go their separate ways. The link between the fig trees, monkeys and dung beetles is just one of many intricate cycles that exist in Bandaugur. In the Gita, one of the sacred texts of Hinduism, the god Vishnu says, "Every creature is a jewel on a necklace, beaded to me." The Hindu trinity of gods is made up of Brahma, the god of birth, Vishnu, the preserver of life, and Shiva, the destroyer. It is said that all existence is recycled within this eternal triangle. The temple which the old priest still tends will one day be consumed by the jungle. Seeds from figs eaten by monkeys and hornbills will fall to the ground. Rolled and buried by dung beetles, the seeds will germinate. Shoots will grow, and slowly the limbs of many fig trees will entwine the carved pillars of the temple, eventually breaking through the roof. By April, the grasses are brown. And the waterholes have all but dried up. But Bandaugur's perennial springs and streams mean that Bachi and her family will never go thirsty. Other creatures stay at a safe distance until the tigers have finished. But they might be in for a long wait. After the cubs have quenched their thirst, they begin to let off some steam. Eventually, Bachi summons her cubs, and they go scampering back to their mother. Imposing discipline on boisterous youngsters is a problem universal to all adult mammals. Even before the langurs sound the alarm, Bachi senses danger. Dominant male tigers will kill any cubs that are not their own. With just a flick of his tail, B1 sends the herd scattering. Although B1 is her son, Bachi is taking no chances and moves her cubs away from the grassland. And Bachi is not the only tiger avoiding B1. Tshajar cannot afford another encounter with his grandson. With B1 on one side and Tshajar on the other, Bachi takes her cubs back to the cave. The cubs seem to appreciate the danger instinctively and will wait here in silence until Bachi returns. Testing the air, Bachi picks up Tchajar's scent. The tigress leaves her own scent for Tchajar to follow. In addition to his injuries, Tchajar is now going blind. Smell is his most powerful remaining sense, and the one that Bachi will use to lead him. Bachi has successfully drawn Tchajar towards the waterhole, away from the cave. But by the time Tchajar arrives, Bachi has already slipped away and is on her way back to her cubs. Half blind, old and injured, Tchajar can be easily misled. But B1 is a different matter entirely. A young male, ruthlessly establishing his territory. He will kill cubs sired by other males in an attempt to ensure that only the genes of the dominant male survive. B1's seemingly brutal act is the result of an ancient instinct, one the old priest has watched tigers follow for years. Bachi returns to the cave where she left her two cubs. She is unsettled and apprehensive. She calls to them, and one of her cubs appears. Finally, it is joined by the other. It was the offspring of another tigress that B1 killed. Bachi's cubs are safe. By the end of May, temperatures in Bandaugar reach a searing 45 degrees Celsius. This is the start of Nautapa, the hottest 9 days of the year, when every living thing in Bandaugar feels the worst of the fiery summer. By the end of June, thunder rumbles across the plains and the monsoon winds start to blow. This is when the sal forest drops its seeds. The tiny helicopters descend from the trees in anticipation of the coming rains. While sambar deer graze on the sal seeds, a family of foxes picks off other seasonal windfalls. Tsharaja will not see the rains break again. He never fully recovered after his mauling by B1. Now he has been further weakened by hunger and the oppressive months of heat. And he is almost completely blind. He makes his way to a cave at the base of the plateau and lies down for what will be the last time. Each new day in Bandauger begins with 1,000,000 possibilities. In another cave, within the honeycombed foundations of the Great Plateau, B1 has female company. It's the tigress whose cub he killed. He calls her, and the tigress gets up to follow. The pair will stay together for 2 to 4 days, and during that time they will mate frequently. Each encounter only lasts a few seconds, but they can mate as many as 40 times in a single day. Monsoon clouds fly over the fort and the statues of the 10 incarnations of Vishnu. As the old priest gazes out across the familiar plains, he knows he might not witness another season. The only thing he's certain of is that the monsoon rains will once again fall and transform the lives of every creature in Bandauger. Dry land is drenched and almost immediately turns green. The sleeping Vishnu, like a chameleon of new life, also changes color. Grasses spring up in the meadows, providing new cover for predators and new grazing for prey. A leopardess drags her kill across the new growth. She's in a race against time. Vultures are already scanning the landscape, and their presence will draw other unwanted attention. The leopardess knows she must get the kill under cover as quickly as possible. Preoccupied with mating for the last few days, B1 is now hungry. A leopard must always eat what it can as quickly as it can. The arrival of a tiger would mean either abandoning its kill or being killed itself. The meal is over for this leopardess. B1 has arrived. Leopards are far better climbers than tigers, and she heads for the safety of the branches above her now abandoned kill. Tigers may be magnificent animals, but they're not proud, and find nothing demeaning about stealing another animal's dinner. Hunting is a hit-and-miss affair. For a tiger like B1, scavenging is a far more reliable means of support. The leopardess can only watch and wait. The canopy of Bandaugur is once again flush with new growth and new life. Temperatures fall as summer ends and the cold winter months set in. Stream beds that were bone dry and baked hard now run again. With the rains come insects and their predators. A pair of migrant cranes arrives, signaling the start of winter. There will be hardships ahead for all of the creatures in Bandaugur. Bachi's cubs have now reached 3/4 of their full size, but they remain oblivious to anything beyond the world of their family and the watchful gaze of Bachi. The priest on the plateau has silently witnessed all of the dramas played out below the temple. He has watched the rise and fall of Tshajar and the ascent of mighty B1. The Maharajas have come and gone. The future belongs to the next generation of tigers in the Eden called Bandaugur.